Hey there, everyone. That Sexy Nerd is back again, and we're doing something slightly different. Instead of going over Think Story, I feel that Heavy Spoilers is actually doing a much better job at being concise with these. Theory time. What is it? Theory time. I don't know. I love the Paul. Speaking of which, actually, when I was just starting out as a YouTuber, I actually went up and commented and told him about it, and he actually was like, you just got to keep going with it, and eventually you will be successful at it. And I wouldn't say I'm successful yet, but it's getting there. My channel really, I already have 2,000 subscribers, so. And thank you guys for joining. I really do appreciate it. But anyway, I thought I'd do his from now on. I mean, not only do I feel he's more concise, I feel he's a little bit more entertaining. I feel that Think Story are just, his entire breakdowns, and, maybe I'll do both. Let me know in the comments if you believe I should do both. But anyway, not really much to say, because if I do anything more with House of the Dragon, I will spoil it. But I do have something to say. I don't think I talked about this that much, but yeah, the whole Alyssa Targaryen thing, Daemon's mother, the whole sex thing, that he probably might have had sex with. I listen, I'm not too mad about that, first of all, because I know people are going to be like, do you saying that Daemon wants to F his mother? No. I honestly think that Alice is really just fucking with his head. Because he never knew his mother. So, why would he want to? But I think what really has got me mad is that they didn't depict her correctly. They depict her as just another pretty Targaryen, when the books went out of the way to say that, not only was she kind of more plain, or she was more like a tomboy and everything, she also had one blue eye, one green eye. And I always thought it was a distinctive feature about that. But, they never want to do anything like that. I think it's just because of the CGI costs, or maybe putting in contact lenses. It's stupid. If they could do it in 28 weeks later, then they could do it here. Rant over. So, other than that, I'm sure maybe you'll say something about it in there. I watched his Heavy Spoilers already, and it was pretty good. Let me know, by the way, if you want me to react to his episode breakdowns as well. Thinking about it, but I'm waiting for new rock stars. I know I should have done it last week, and I totally missed it this week. Maybe I should, but what are you gonna do? But anyway, let's just get into the episode, and please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, check out my Patreon for full-length reactions of some of my videos. I will, after House of the Dragon is over, depending on how the schedule goes, I will be doing The Boys on YouTube and on Patreon. So I will put the Patreon episodes first, and then I will do a compilation, maybe 3 episodes each video or something like that, and react to that way, kind of like what's her name, Natalie Gold, something like that. So I'm gonna try and experiment with that, so maybe I can get it done a little faster. But anyway, let's just get to it, y'all.
The trailer for Season 2 Episode 6 is now out, and the seeds of the future are falling into place. Throughout this video, we're going to break it all down and go through what's likely going to happen in the episode. Obviously, this will include some spoilers from the book as we talk about what's likely going down. If you enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up and bend the knee by hitting subscribe. With that out of the way though, huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into House of the Dragon. The trailer is very heavily based around the idea of claiming new dragons for the Blacks, which is a major part of the book. Throughout the season, we've been setting up the dragon seeds, which is where we left things in episode 5. There, Rhaenyra and Jace were looking to the records and wondering if there were other Targaryens out there. Now, we've actually met some dragon seeds in the series so far, with Ulf White, Hugh Hammer, Adam, and Alan all making appearances. Alan, now these are both
he's not,
and used as a way to bolster their dragon riders. Adam and Alan are obviously Valarians as well, so it all kind of works out with this this big family affair thing. A huge shout out to Think Story for pointing out that in the Team Black trailer, you can see Ulf, Alan, and Hugh dining with Rhaenyra Jason Baylor. Introduced in the book during the middle of the war, Ulf, Alan, and Hugh dining with Rhaenyra Jason Baylor.
Oh. Look at that.
Introduced in the book during the middle of the war, we learn about how the royals had a number of bastards out there. House Targaryen had ruled Dragonstone for more than 200 years, since Lord Aenar Targaryen first arrived from Valyria with his dragons. Though it had always been their custom to wed brother to sister and cousin to cousin, young blood runs hot, and it was not unknown for men of the house to seek their pleasures amongst the daughters and even the wives of their subjects, the small folk who lived in the villages below the Dragon Mount. Tillers of the land and fishers of the sea. Indeed, until the reign of King Jaehaerys, the ancient right to the first night had been invoked mayhaps more oft on Dragonstone than anywhere else in the Seven Kingdoms. Though good Queen Alysanne would surely have been shocked to hear it.
Yes,
these people are highly sought after, and the Blacks even put forth rewards to try and get people to come forward. It was to them that Prince Jaehaerys turned at the urging of his fool, vowing that any man who could master a dragon would be granted lands and riches and dubbed a knight. His son would be ennobled, his daughters wed to lords, and he himself would have the honour of fighting beside the Prince of Dragonstone against the pretender Aegon II Targaryen and his treasonous supporters. And the work tells us about all the dragons that they gain from this too. Dragons are not horses. They do not easily accept men upon their backs, and when angered or threatened, they attack. Munken's True Telling tells us that 16 men lost their lives during the sowing. 3 times that number were burned or maimed.
I can't wait to see that.
Was burned to death while trying to mount the dragon Sea Smoke. Now, Sea Smoke used to belong to Laenor, and he's a dragon that we've seen in the series before. Darklyn has also been Rhaenyra's Lord Protector throughout the series, and it shows how dangerous this stuff can be. Now, I believe that Sea Smoke's who we see coming out of the dragon pit in the teaser, and we also get a reaction shot of Rhaenyra looking shocked. This could be her seeing Darklyn get killed, which is why everyone rushes away. The trailer has edited things to look a bit confusing though, as we have several shots of her approaching the end of the path of the dragon pit. However, one moment has her going to Syrax, which you see her flying out on later. The other has her going to Sea Smoke, which I believe is when Darklyn will be killed. This fate is also shared by Gorman Massey, who too's a member of the Black Council. Lord Gorman Massey suffered the same fate when approaching Vermithor, a man called Silver Denys, whose hair and eyes lent credence to his claim to be descended from a bastard son of Maegor the Cruel, had an arm torn off by Sheepstealer. As his son struggled to staunch the wound, the cannibal descended on them, drove off Sheepstealer, and devoured father and sons alike. Now then goes on, also sorry for all the book reading, just giving you an insight to what's going to happen.
But
and
it's
how
good.
Sea Smoke and some of the others are tamed. Yet
It's
Sea
good,
Smoke,
it's right out of my
Vermithor,
book.
and Silverwing were accustomed to men and tolerant of their presence. Having once been ridden, they were more accepting of their riders. Vermithor, the old king's own dragon, bent his neck to a blacksmith's bastard, a towering man called Hugh Hammer, or Hard Hugh, whilst a pale-haired man-at-arms named Ulf the White, for his hair, or Ulf the Sot, for his drinking, mounted Silverwing, beloved of good Queen Alysanne. And Sea Smoke, who had once born Laenor Velaryon, took unto his back a boy of 10 and 5 known as Adam of Hull, whose origins remain a matter of dispute amongst historians to this day.
You know, before he continues, there's a little confusion about that, because it implies that Adam of Hull is actually Corlys's son, but you know, his Velaryons were not dragon riders, at least not according to the books. So how can his bastard son ride a dragon? At least in the books, it was implied that it was Laenor's bastard. How implausible that could be, however, you know, because you know he was gay, but still, it makes the fact that he can ride a dragon a little confusing, don't you think?
So that's kind of discussing what Rhaenyra is talking about in the beginning of the trailer when we see her at Dragonstone. She says it's never been attempted before and it actually has the potential to backfire. As we saw with Maelys's head being paraded through King's Landing, the small folk are seeing that the dragons aren't gods. There was an idea that the Targaryens and the Velaryons were as well, and this is why they were able to ride dragons. It's also what made them the rulers of the land and why people refuse to stand up to them. Though technically the ones they're recruiting are descended from from the blood of the dragon, it also has the potential to make the Targaryens seem more human. Now Rhaenyra's also going to have to call forth multiple dragons, and in the teaser we see her announcing this at the Black Council. Coming across the painted table, she says she's going to have to find more riders. We can also see Corlys in the wider shot of the table, with him accepting the hand of the queen position. The chair is in the same position where the greens have it as well, highlighting how the hand is always close at hand. Now later on in the teaser we see him looking at the table, and I think this is probably in the build up to him accepting it. He's not wearing the pin at this point and probably looking over the table while contemplating if he's going to accept it. Now we also see Daemon at what's likely Harrenhal talking to someone who resembles Alice Rivers.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the side of her forehead for a split second, and I did go back and forth over whether this was actually Alice or someone with long dark hair. They do appear to be similar, but it could also be someone else who's part of Daemon's visions. I do kind of hope we get away from Daemon going about Luigi's mansion for a whole episode, as personally I think it's getting a bit repetitive and they're kind of taking away from the pacing of his character. It does seem like they're doing another though, as we see him approaching the Iron Throne at the end of the teaser. This is similar to the dream that kick-started the 4th episode of the season, and I kind of hope we see his brother at some point. They might do the return of Millie Alcock again, but yeah, just kind of slowing stuff down and hitting us over the head every episode with the same message. Just my opinion, but let me know what you think and if you like this thing every single episode. Either way, he's forging an army out in the Riverlands, which is really starting to worry Criston. This is something that pulls from the book, with it saying, "Meanwhile, the seeds Jacaerys Velaryon had planted on his flight north had begun to bear fruit, and men were gathering at White Harbour, Winterfell, Barrowton, Sisterton, Gulltown, and the Gates of the Moon. Should they join their strength to that of the Riverlords assembling at Harrenhal with Prince Daemon, even the strong walls of King's Landing might not be able to withstand them," Sir Criston warned the new Prince Regent. Now we see him at King's Landing looking at Alicent and can catch the back of her head to the right. Things were frosty when we last left things, but they're kind of in a toxic cycle. Even the first time we saw them together at the start of the season, that was ended by her saying it won't happen again. It's kind of like that guy who writes about how they're unsubscribing because you ruined the videos, now you've started appearing on camera, but don't let the door hit you on the way back, mate. MT's just dropped an hour and 40-minute long breakdown of Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's the best video on the channel. Shabao, you're back! Anyway, from here we cut at the Green Council, which is whittled down to just a few members. We can see Larys there at the foot of the table, which is his favourite place to sit, and Jasper and This teaser kinda has him turning his bedbound brother, and also Alicent discussing how he did it for revenge due to all the bullying that Aegon gave him as a kid. He also made fun of him at the Cock Inn, and the guy's the reason that he's now half-baked. Not in that way. Now we can see him also pressing down on his chest, which causes Aegon to exhale in agony. Fuck's sake. It adds a new test which causes Aegon to exhale in agony. Fuck's sake. It adds a new dimension to the series, as this is something that was never in. All we had was the Greens seeming cool, calm and collected, but the divide is really fascinating. Aemond always believed he should rule, whereas Daemon never betrayed his brother. Aemond clearly has. They are definitely playing the pair off as opposites, which we've seen throughout Daemon's dreams. Aemond actually also welcomes the challenge of his uncle, and this is something that pulls from the work. Supremely confident in his own prowess as a warrior and the might of his dragon Vhagar, Aemond was eager to take the battle to the foe. "The whore on Dragonstone is not a threat," he said. "No more than Rowan and these traitors in the Reach. The danger is my uncle. Once Daemon is dead, all these fools flying our sisters' banners will run back to their castles and trouble us no more." Now this idea of him challenging him is then mirrored in Daemon out at Harrenhal. We watch him going down to the rocks and approaching the Weirwood Tree. This backs out onto the God's Eye, which is a location that Aemon and Daemon eventually fight at. Now it is possible that he's leaving on Caraxes, who we see in this shot, or they may be setting up something else. In the book we know Daemon went to the tree and waited there for 2 weeks for Aemon to arrive. He sliced at it in his boredom, and this could be him starting off this ritual before their battle goes down. I don't believe it'll happen in this season, as we're still pretty early, but it could be laying the seeds for what's to come down the line. Now everyone's having to arm up, including Rhaenyra. We see her picking up a sword, which likely belongs to one of her ancestors. We know that it can't be Visenya's, but I think that she's mimicking her idol. The picture of Visenya in the book in episode 5 had her holding one, and Rhaenyra knows she's gonna have to fight. This is something she wrestled with last week, and she hated that her father never had her trained in the ways of battle. So this is her potentially cementing the idea that she has to pick up the sword. Now we also see the Lannister forces going out to a castle. We get a lot of shots of this, and though we don't know the exact location, it is probably Golden Tooth. Jace also says to Rhaenyra that they need Daemon, and it's possible that when we see Syrax flying out, she's going out to Harrenhal. Potentially, she picks up the sword while wondering if she's going to have to fight him before then heading out there. As we know, they're unsure where his loyalties lie, and there is the potential that she's going out to meet him. Now we later see Rhaenyra and Mysaria overlooking the sea, akin to what we get here. The pair often talk at these locations on the island, and they're probably discussing what her spy's doing out in King's Landing. Now later on in the teaser, we see a group of common folk mobbing Alicent and Helena at the Sept.
I thought they were...
that Alinda might have caused civil unrest, and they might be rioting. I didn't mention this in our big video, but I do wonder if Alinda went specifically to that girl because it's someone Aegon assaulted. Potentially, she could tell the people what the king did and how Alicent tried to cover it up. This might cause some civil unrest and for people to go after the queens when they're at their most vulnerable. We obviously don't have answers to what Alinda was doing, but it could potentially tie in with the dragon seeds. Now we also know that the dragon seed nettles won't be in the show. It's unfortunate as she's one of the best characters in the book, but
I know
completely skipping over her. Now because of this, I think they might be combining her with Rhaena, who we see out in the Vale of Arryn.
That's
it's possible
bullshit.
that she claims a dragon at this point, and then they can have her go on a similar arc to Nettles. Think Story also pointed out that you can see a little head of head there, which is likely Joffrey. Potentially she's protecting him from a dragon, and in doing this she might end up claiming him. Also, not that Joffrey, eh? Either way, that wraps up the trailer, and apologies for being so book heavy early on. I do think there's
Don't apologize.
We just kind of have to go through the dragon seeds, and with 3 episodes left, yeah, the stuff's beginning to mount up. I'd obviously love to see you for our breakdown on Sunday, and also make sure you leave your thoughts below on what you think's going to happen in the episode. Please drop a like on the video, and if you want to...
Yeah, so shit's about to pop off, really. We probably won't see a huge battle like what we have. But I kind of think I know how they're gonna end this, and y'all are gonna be shocked. But yeah, it's this season's gonna be good. I don't like that whole thing that they're gonna be saying that Rhaena is going down the path of Nettles, because this is bullshit. First of all, Nettles fucks her father. Let's get that out of the way first. And second, I mean, what is she gonna ride? Sheep Stealer? Like, she had a good dragon. It was called Morning. I mean, it is said that Sheep Stealer disappears, but you know, I just this moment realized that Daemon is very ambiguous after when the real meat and potatoes of the battle goes through, and it's because he was having sex with Nettles. But what are they going to have him do now? He already tried to F his mother. Why he's going to try and F his daughter? That's stupid. But I don't know. I don't understand why they would exclude Nettles. Like, again, one of the best characters in the book. Ugh. But anyway, let me know on your thoughts below, and let me know if I should keep on with heavy spoilers or go back to Think Story. And I'll see you all in the next episode. And remember, smash that like button and also check out my Patreon.